morning and welcome to our Tuesday to jour, where we're going to talk about last week's meeting, obviously, and our normal Tuesday show where we're going to talk a little bit about barrier trials, my two to follow, some stand track work as well, some hopefully that you can watch a little bit of training, and come Friday morning if you want to make any sort of selections, you can see if any of your selections had that we've showed on the show this morning. Right, let's start off with Saturday. As you might have noticed, well, not noticed, if you watched our show on Friday, we thought that Gilles Beracet and Robbie Fred were going to clean up. They really had some good rides. And, well, unfortunately, I mean, they just had the two winners in 3 seconds. It wasn't a bad day for them. But like I said, I thought the spotlight was going to be on Robbie Fred and Gilles Beracet. But the guy that stole the spotlight was Jamie Alessan with the Rameshwar Gajara stable. They really had a cracking day. He rode 3 winners. It's very nice to see the youngster doing well. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. Let's just hope that he keeps his feet on the ground and he remains a very humble and he's a nice boy. I really like him, and I wish him all the success. He's really doing well. And I think even when he loses his claimed 3 kilos, I think he's going to be good enough to ride with some of the professional jockeys as well. He's really doing well. And like I said, may it long continue. I really hope he has a good career. Oljami Olesen, he's a nice guy, and let's hope he keeps those winners coming. Right, let's talk about the feature race. Obviously, with Independence coming out, my first choice was Oomph on Friday morning, but with Independence coming out of the race, obviously it changed the whole dimension of the race. Oomph, as you all know, he likes a nice, strong, hot pace, and he finishes quite well. But I was lucky enough to be on TV in the parade ring for the 6th race, and 10 Gun Salute walked past me, and I must say he looked absolutely magnificent. And I just thought, just on the looks, he was my second choice Friday as well, but just the way he looked in the ring on Saturday, before the race, he really looked very well, and I did comment on TV that I thought he was going to be the winner, and I quickly changed my mind, and I had a couple of rupees on 10 Gun Salute. I have to say it was an excellent ride by Robbie Fred. He was drawn 1, and after about 100 meters or so, I was quite confused why he'd come off the fence. He was 1 off, and then I realized that 10 Gun Salute was giving him quite a hard time. He was pulling quite hardly. He was hanging in as well, but I thought Robbie made such a great decision up that backstretch to rather let 10 Gun Salute use his stride instead of pulling him out of the saddle. And that just comes down to experience. And well done to Robbie. He's a very experienced rider. He's been riding for many years. And I think the win, the victory, the credit has to go to Robbie Fred. I thought it was a very, very good ride. And I think 10 Gun Salute, like I said to you, well, I said it on TV, that if he finds his South African form, he's a decent horse. And let's hope that he has found that form. And he's going to be a big contender for some of the bigger races to come up. Well, that was the feature race. Let's talk about suspension. I see this morning there was an inquiry with Jan Polis on his ride on Navistar, and he did cop a 2-week suspension for that. And then we were just talking about Jamie Allison. Unfortunately, he got a 1-week suspension for his ride on C-Pass for interference. So, unfortunately, that's the game. One day you're on top of the world, the next day you're at the bottom. That's racing, and let's hope he bounces back from that. Just have to say one more thing about his ride on Rock on Geordies. I thought it was a cracking ride, and for me, it was ride of the day. He really gave that also a good ride. So, unfortunately, Jamie Alessan's got a week suspension. He's going to be on the sidelines. I don't know if it's going to be this week or maybe next week. I think he has got a right to choose. So, let's see what happens there. Right, before we move on to our training this morning, let's talk about my 2 to follow. The first horse I want to talk about is the Great One from the Gajara stable. And this horse ran a cracking race. I thought it was a very, very good run. Typical of a horse having his first run in Mauritius. I thought he jumped pretty well. And he raced quite wide up this first turn. He was caught 3 wide up the hill for the first time, and then he had to settle sort of 3/4 way back near the back of the field. But he was traveling behind Yankee Captain. In fact, he was traveling quite well at one stage. But when Yankee Captain quickened up, he just flattened out a little bit, and he just battled to kick on at the top of the straight. But I have to say, he was doing his best work at the end, really running on nicely, this horse. And like a lot of the Gajara horses have done in the past, he ran a cracking race, and I think that this horse is going to go on and win a couple of races here in Mauritius. It was a very encouraging run, and looks like they've got quite a nice horse in the making. Just like I said, he just battled to quicken up when it counted, and obviously a little bit further is going to suit him, the Great One. I thought it was a very good run, and I'm definitely going to put him in my 2 to follow. The other horse I want to talk about is Prince of Wales from the Pritam Dabi stable. Very similar run to the Great One. You know, this horse, like I said to you, I was in the parade ring for that feature race, and this horse also looked unbelievably well. I have to say, Pritam Dabi really turns his horses out well. For a young trainer, his horses walk into the paddock, they really look well, and well done to Pritam. I really like the way he turns his horses out. But this horse, well, he jumped okay. It was a decent jump, and he too followed about 3/4 way back most of the way. He was traveling quite well. He was traveling one off the fence, and I thought he was traveling quite well. But just like the Great One, you'll just see that he battles to quicken up when it counted most, and 10-gun salute quickened up beautifully. And he just was caught a little bit flat-footed, and that's understandable because Prince of Wales, his best form in South Africa is over a little bit of ground, but he finished his race very well. In fact, a couple more strides, he probably would have run second, and I really like the way that Prince of Wales is coming on. And this horse, probably there's some bigger things or bigger fish for him to fry later on in the season, especially once he goes over a little bit of ground. So that's Prince of Wales and the Great One. I think they're both two horses that are worth following. I've put them in my black book. Right, that is the past. Let's talk about the future. And this morning I think there were 5 barrier trials. There's just 4 that I want to talk about. The first one is, nice to see Patrick Mervyn stepping out some of his younger horses. In the first barrier trial, he had 2. He had Dance on Air and As You Please. And let's talk about Dance on Air. He's a 5-year-old. He was bought by the Mervyn stable. He won 5 races in Durban, ranging from about 1,200 to 1,400 meters. And although he's done well over 1,600, I just think that he's probably going to be a little bit better over the 1,400, and I think that this horse is going to be quite a nice horse for the Patrick Mervyn stable. Right, his stable companion, As You Please, well, not as impressive form as his stable companion, but he is a one-time winner, and he followed that win up with a couple of average races. It wasn't disgraced, wasn't beaten far, so his rating of 34, he'll probably be quite competitive in that rating. And then Gingerbread Brand, nice horse from the Rajram Din stable. He's a 4-year-old. He's a 5-time winner already, and he's run behind some nice horses, this horse. And like I said, it's nice to see Raj get a horse with a little bit of quality, and I thought his gallop was quite nice. He's got that come-on look about him. He was at Post Lafayette with me as well, and he was very, very backwards for a 4-year-old, but I think he's going to make a lot of improvement, Gingerbread Man, and let's hope he flies the flag high for the Rajram Din stable when he's fully fit. Right, that was the first barrier trial. The second one I want to talk to you about is Rap Attack. He galloped with Interferometer and Rodney from the Sherish Narang stable. Rap Attack, well, he was a little bit slow away last time, and they've tried him this morning with the Monty Roberts blankets. I can say he jumped pretty well that day, and he finished it. He was flying to Yankee Captain on that day, and as you all know, Yankee Captain came out and won a very impressive race on Saturday. So Rap Attack, let's hope that Monty Roberts helps him, because as we all know, Sadeur is looking for that first winner, and hopefully Rap Attack can win for him soon. I think he's quite a nice horse, Rap Attack, ever since he's moved over to that stable. It was a very good run last time. Let's hope he jumps better with that Monty Roberts blanket. Then Interferometer, well, as I mentioned to you last week, this horse was very green in his gallop, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him back again this week. And here he was this morning, much better. Last week he was jumping over the crossings and green, but he was a lot better this morning, and hopefully we'll see him in the race card soon, and for the Sham Herchan stable. And then Rodney, well, he's a first-timer for the Sherish Narang stable. Well, not a first-timer. He should be making his debut soon. It was quite a nice gallop for him as well. And I see most of his career was in Cape Town, where he had 2 wins, and then he moved over to Durban, where he wasn't disgraced. He never won, but he wasn't far off them. And this Rodney looks like he could be a nice little horse. He does well in the sprints. He's a sprinter, and let's hope that he does well for the Sherish Narang stable. Right, then the next one I want to talk to you about is Patrick Mervyn again. He stepped out 2 of his horses, Liquid Dynamite and Southern Sun, and they galloped from the Ashes from the Stodoyle stable. Let's start off with Liquid Dynamite. He's a nice 4-year-old son of Dynasty. He appreciates a bit of ground, as both his wins were over 1,700 and 1,800 meters, and looks like he'll need a run or 2 before we see the best of him, especially. We'll have to wait till he goes over the ground that he prefers, like a 1850. But he looks like quite a nice horse. He's rated 35, and I think he's going to be quite handy for the stable. His stable companion, let's talk about from the Ashes. He's a likely raced horse. He's a 3-year-old, and I think he's only had the 3 runs, and I see that he was 100-1 on his debut, and he managed to run a very good second, but he never really followed that run up. His next 2 runs, well, he wasn't beaten far, but you think of the horse that runs second first time out might just follow that up with a win soon. But he is only 3, and he's obviously got a lot of scope for improvement. Southern Sun, he looks like a nice horse. And then from the Ashes, well, he's got excellent South African form in the maidens. He hasn't won, but his 4 runs, he ran 4 places, And in fact, I think 3 of them were all second. So he's only rated 26. I think he's a lot better than his rating of 26. And I think that this horse he's got quite a bright future in Mauritius. Like I said, only the 4 runs, placed in all of them. Looks like he's going to be quite a nice horse from the Ashes, especially off that rating of 26. I believe he's a bit better than his rating. Right, then the last one I want to talk to you about is Zen Master from the Herchan stable. He galloped with Jet Path and Bear Hug. Let's start off with Jet Path. He won this gallop quite easily. He's been giving them such a handful. I have to say, once again, credit to the handlers and the starters. They've been working with this horse every single Tuesday morning. This morning they got him in and he managed to jump. And he, like I said, he won this gallop quite easily. And I think he's quite a decent horse. He's only had 2 runs in South Africa. His first run was very, very impressive. And then, unfortunately, his next start, it says in the comments column there that he played up in the stalls. And that obviously put toll to his chances. But let's hope he's got all of that behind him, because I think that he's going to be quite a nice horse, this Jet Path. Then Zen Master from the Herchan stable. Well, he's a one-time winner over 1600. But his form does suggest that he probably could be a little bit more effective over the 1365 or the 1400. Not bad performances after his win. In fact, his last run in South Africa over a 1600 wasn't a bad race. I think he only got beat by about 2 lengths. He's only rated 29, and let's hope that he could do well for the Herchan stable. Then the last horse is Bear Hug from the Jean-Michel Henry stable. He's a 3-year-old this, and I see that he's actually run 6 times in South Africa, but he was placed 3 times, so he is a consistent sort. He too is rated 26, and he probably prefers a little bit of more ground, this horse, than the 1,000-meter gallop that he had this morning. So I'm expecting a big improvement from Bear Hug. Obviously, he's done better. He's run right up to 1,900, 1,800 meters, so that 1,000-meter sprint this morning is going to be too quick, and I'm sure he's going to come on a lot from that barrier trial. All right, those were the barrier trials I wanted to talk to you about. Let's get stuck into the training. Some sand work this morning that I saw. The first horse I want to talk to you about, I'm sure he'll probably be back into the 3-year championship, is from the Gajra stable. That's Captain Falcon. And after an excellent debut in the 3-year championship, Captain Falcon has made some serious improvement. And he worked very well alongside Soweto Moon, who's no slouch. Soweto Moon's a decent horse, especially on the sand. So, you just remember what Zodiac Jack has done since he's won that 3-year championship. I thought Captain Falcon needed that run quite badly. He raced a little bit green, and I see he's made some major improvement, and I think he's going to be quite a big runner come the second leg of the 3-year championship. Then let's talk about a horse from the Rameshwar Gajra stable. That's Basil Mart, and the stable remains in top form. They're really doing well. So is Basil Mart. His form is very, very good. You can just remember when he beat gold medalist on his penultimate start at the beginning of the season. It was a great win. He followed that up with a very good run to Gimme Green. In fact, he only got beat 2 lengths by Gimme Green, and he just got caught late. We saw what Gimme Green did on Saturday. He was narrowly beaten on Saturday, so the form is pretty solid. Basil Mart has stepped up to 41 now, but like I said, it was a good run, and with the stable in terrific form, obviously Basil Mart is worthwhile following. Right, let's move over to Gilbert Resset's stable. I want to talk about 2 horses. They didn't work together, but let's talk to them one after each other. The first horse is Kara. I know I talk a lot about Kara, but I just believe that this horse is back to his best. Unfortunately, he was taken out last time, as we all know, for under the circumstances, but this horse is really, really doing well, and I really believe that he's going to win soon. He's back to his best, and I thought this morning was pretty good work, and keep an eye on Kara. I really believe that this horse is going to win very, very soon. Right, and then like I said, the other horse I want to talk about is Scott Snug. And just as Kara, he was taken out last time, and Scott Snug's just looking like the Scott Snug of old. He's really doing well. His coat's shining, especially for this time of year. It's winter, but he's doing well. And as you all know, he's one of my favorite horses, and I think it's going to be a pretty tough decision for Robbie Fred to make between Kara and Scott Snug. Both of these horses are doing very, very well. And I'm sure they'll probably end up racing together. And like I said, Robbie Fay is going to have quite a difficult choice between the 2 of them. Right, then we move over to Patrick Mervin's stable. Nice to see them back into the winner's enclosure. In fact, some of the horses are running a lot better. There's Zen Master, and he went down a short head to Mamba's Rock last time. He did everything. He went to the front. He did everything but win. He just got caught close to home, and I thought it was a very, very good race in that rating. In that 0.26, and I think Zen Master, he's going to judging on his work this morning, I think he's going to follow up that run. He's working alongside Soldier's Code, which was his working companion, and I don't know. He's come on a lot from his first run as well. Soldier's Code. He hasn't won yet, but he's starting to show a bit of form. And I think both these two horses are worthwhile following. I like both of their works. So Zen Master and Soldier's Code, definitely two horses that are worthwhile following in the future. Right, let's go back to the Gajara stable where we saw Friend Request. He worked alongside Saint Tropez, and as we all know, Friend Request was a very impressive debut. Unfortunately, last time when he was sort of short price favourite, he was found to have blood in his trachea, and obviously now he will be treated as a bleeder, and I think that Friend Request will bounce back, especially the way that he won that first start. And obviously, unfortunately, it's a thing of racing where horses do bleed or do find blood in their trachea, and that obviously does put weight to their chances. But I thought it was still a very good run. He didn't get beat very far, and he worked along Saint Tropez. Obviously, Saint Tropez would have needed his first run quite badly first time out. I actually thought he'd run a little bit better, but he looked like he needed it quite badly. He has improved quite a lot, and I'm expecting a lot of improvement from Saint Tropez, especially when he goes over his correct distance. Right, we'll stick with the Gajara stable because we saw Radlet. He worked alongside the evergreen Tandraji, and as we all know, Radlet won very well last time with those blinkers in a 0.20. I believe that even off a rating of 23, he can follow that win up. I think the blinkers have done the trick with this horse, and just like the horse that won on Saturday, Rasta Rebel, I think he's going to be following the footsteps of Rasta Rebel. This horse looks very, very well. The blinkers has improved him, and you just have to have a look. He's working alongside Tandraji, the evergreen Tandraji. It's amazing how this horse still carries on enjoying his racing. And it's hard to believe that Tandraji is the highest rated horse in the Gajara stable. Just shows you what a top horse Tandraji's been. And I thought it was quite good work for Radlet, especially working next to a horse like Tandraji. There was nice work. I think Radlet's going to follow up his win. I think he's going to win again, especially in the 0.25. Right, then Jolly Roger. Well, we do speak a bit about Jolly Roger because finally he's got it all together. He's won his last two races, and he's won them pretty decently. He's won two good races, and I'm going to mention this to you once again. I remember Donovan Mansour telling me what a good horse he thought this was. He just lacked confidence, and obviously Jolly Roger has now gained his confidence. You just have to see how easily he beat Chili Con Carne. Chili Con Carne followed that up with a very impressive win. So that form line's pretty strong. He's still working very, very well, this horse, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jolly Roger manages to secure a hat-trick of wins. He's really working well, Jolly Roger from the Pedro stable. Right, sticking with the Pedro stable, I want to talk about the young horse Badawi, the horse that I really fancied on debut. I have to say I wouldn't say it was a shocking ride. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it was a shocking ride. The horse was just gave Derek such a hard time, and eventually had to pull off the fence, and he went around. There was a lot of talk about his ride. I just thought he gave him a very, very difficult time, and he ended up sort of going head and head with the pacemaker, and obviously he was going to fall into a hole coming into the straight. He was tired, and he never sort of finished his race at all. But this is a decent horse. You just have to look at his work this morning, and I really believe that Badawi is going to be a horse that you've got to follow next time out. I'm going to follow him. I think he's a decent horse. I think he's a good horse in the making, and I'm going to ignore that first run completely, and I'm definitely going to keep an eye on Badawi next time. Right, then I want to talk about two horses that will probably be taking their place in the 3-year-old championship. The first one is Kudu 2 from the Gilbert Reset stable, and this horse is looking absolutely magnificent. In fact, I put a circle around work of the day. I thought his work this morning was very, very good, and he's a nice horse. And you must remember the weight turnaround that he had with Zodiac Jack in that first leg. They've now rated the same. They're going to be carrying level weights, and I think he only got to beat about a length and a half. Although you have to say Zodiac Jack probably won a little bit easier than it looked, but it's going to be a lot tougher for Zodiac Jack this time against Kudu 2. He's really working well, and he's improved leaps and bounds, this horse, and I really believe that he's going to be a big, big runner in the next leg of the 3-year-old championship. And then talking about Zodiac Jack, I just want to show you his workout as well. This horse hasn't lost any sort of his flair. He keeps on impressing me, this horse, but like I said, it's going to be a lot tougher for Zodiac Jack now, especially now that he's gone up the merit rating. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not too clued up on merit rating, but I think he's probably going to carry the same weight as Kudu 2, and that's a big disadvantage for Zodiac Jack. But I can tell you his work is still very, very good, as you can see, and and I'm not going to write with Zodiac Jack. But what we'll do is we'll probably talk about that when the card comes out. I think that the second leg is this week, and we'll talk about that. I think we're probably going to do our show on Saturday morning because it's racing on Sunday. The card's only going to come out Friday evening, so we'll probably have our show on Saturday morning. So make sure that you tune in and you watch our show. Thanks very much for all the support we're getting. I thought Shahil's doing a great job as well, and the two of us will be back Saturday morning, and we'll be going through the card for you for the Sunday race meeting. Thanks very much for joining us, and remember, join us on Saturday morning. Thank you. Goodbye.